Our first storyteller is the son of Dora Blaustein from Warsaw, and Nachman Libeskind from Łódź, as you pronounced it appropriately. His parents met in Siberia at the farthest edge of the Soviet Union, somewhere where China and Tibet met. And out of that, Daniel Libeskind will share with us his story.
Let me take you to a courtyard in Łódź, Poland. It's the early 50s. I'm standing in the room looking at a grim courtyard. Poland is not only under the dark cloud of communism, but state-controlled anti-Semitism. We feel it viscerally at school, on the streets, from our neighbors. It's an eternal part of our dismal life in that city. Łódź had 250,000 Jews before the Holocaust. 1 of every 3 people in Łódź was Jewish. Now, there's virtually no one on the street who is Jewish. I'm standing at the window looking at the dim walls of that courtyard, which is closed. At the end of it, there is a wall. Against that wall, there is a stanchion of metal on which women all day long beat their carpets as if dust was the eternal reality of that city. And I'm standing at the window waiting for something I've dreamed about, the piano that my parents promised to bring to the house. My father appears at the door. He's carrying a suitcase. He opens the suitcase, and I see something that partially looks like a piano. There's a keyboard, but the rest I don't recognize. And he says to me, "You know, I brought you a piano in a suitcase. We can't bring a piano to the courtyard. Our neighbors are so hostile to us. There's so much hatred against us. They will always say the rich Jews brought the piano to the courtyard." And I think to myself in my 7-year-old head, how is it possible that this 2-room apartment in which 4 of us live, which is not even big enough for a piano, could be thought to be owned by rich Jews? In any case, I fall in love with accordion. I become a virtuoso. I'm invited to play on the first television program when Polish television goes on air. Finally, we are off to Israel, promised land. We are at the station in Łódź. There's only one person who comes to say goodbye to us. It's Pan Stajkowski, my music teacher, who shakes my hand and tells me I have a great future in music. After arriving in Israel, I continue to study music. My music teacher says, "Daniel, I've inscribed you into a music competition of the America-Israel Cultural Foundation for Music." On the appointed day, I show up at a big hall. There are hundreds of people, some very tall and very grown up, some younger, all carrying cellos, violins, drums, oboes, clarinets. No one is there with a suitcase. They enter a room where they are judged and come out with great frequency with forlorn faces. It's clearly difficult to win the scholarship. My name is called. My father carries the accordion and leaves the room. I strap the accordion to my body. It's 3.5 octaves. You can only see my head and my feet. 3 people in front of me looked a little shocked. Mrs. Kosevitsky, the great patron of music. Zino Francescatti, the Italian violinist. Isaac Stern, the head of the competition. They have quizzical expressions. One might even say cynical. They've never seen this instrument so close to their eyes. But their expressions change. On the 3rd chord of the toccata in D minor of Bach, which I've transcribed, I see their expressions have changed. And when I finish my performance with Rimsky-Korsakov, Flight of the Bumblebee, with its dazzling bravura fingering of both the bass and the keyboard, they smile. Isaac Stern comes over to me. He puts his hand on my shoulder and in a solicitous way said, "You know, Daniel, you've already exhausted the virtuosity of this instrument. You can go no further. You must go from the vertical to the horizontal. You must play the piano." Next thing I know, I'm standing with a small group of the winners, and next to me is a slightly older boy with crutches. It turns out to be Itzhak Perelman. But Isaac Stern had planted a doubt in my mind. I feel like a jealous lover, somebody who was betrayed by the piano which never arrived. And I begin to slowly lose interest in that instrument. And I discover another instrument. It's a small piece of wood with an inserted piece of graphite. And with this pencil, I can evoke the worlds of music, the frozen music that remains on paper. And I become an architect. Many years later, I'm with a BBC crew in the same courtyard. The courtyard looks a little bit lighter, still the cracks are there. I walk to the end of the courtyard and ring the bell to my apartment. An old woman's head pops out of the window. And I say to her, Pani pamięta rodzina Libeskindów? Do you remember the Libeskind family? She shakes her head vigorously. Perhaps she thinks we have come to reclaim something. And then she says, in Polish to me, but I do remember a little boy who always played the accordion. And I say to her in Polish, that little boy was me. And that very moment, I have a revelation that this courtyard, the accordion I played in it, the piano, which never arrived, form a triangle, form the coordinating points of a space in which my past, my future are so deeply intertwined. Thank you.